Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while since my last video, but I'm gonna be on break for a few things. So in the meantime, figure and post them for educational purposes. So main thing is like, um, want to do a few setups. Talking about either a few new things I learned or just some basic general things. So for this one, it's going to be for boss slaughter. This is a skill most people know how to use it pretty decently well, but some new players may not. Alongside that, there is some new stuff I found out about 6 months ago that I haven't been telling pretty much anybody. I think only like 2 people know about it besides me since I found out about it. I don't think I've seen anyone in the community really use this. Never seen it in videos, never seen it on any streams, so I'm assuming it's new. No, could be wrong, but anyways, I'm gonna be going over just a few tips and tricks on boss slaughter, and then including the new thing I found out. So starting off on boss slaughter, main thing I do recommend for the first thing is I do recommend hotbarring boss slaughter. The way boss slaughter works is it is a range confirmation CC. The original input is Shift F, and then you have to immediately hit W after your Shift F. So it is a bit jank to just use by itself. You're doing like Shift F W. You have to like kind of do this input like that. Whereas if you just have it on like your 3 on your hotbar, for example, you can just do W3, and boom, you get a float instantly from ranged. So you can just at any point when you get a malice stiffen, this is generally how people use it, is if you get a long range malice stiffen or just any kind of long range form of catch or somebody desyncing, you can just boss slaughter and then immediately follow up with a float. My usual combo follow up if I'm going off of a boss slaughter is typically ghost greeting into stomp, because this is generally like your highest attack damage follow up. You should be able to get attack damage on both of these. If you are confident on getting the float, or if your stomp's on cooldown, you can also do boss slaughter into Foxclaw. That's another one that you can use. And then you can immediately do like boss slaughter, Foxclaw, blade spin also while it's in there. So you have a few combinations, different ways of following it up. Now that's typically if you're using it as a follow-up CC, meaning you've already gotten some kind of, okay, maybe I got a stun or something, and then I did like a blade spin and then I want to do follow-up damage. Do it like that. Do a full combo. So you can use boss slaughter as a secondary CC in that form. Or another way of using it, if you want to use it aggressively, is that you can also use it with grab, which is what some people do. If they say, let's say you see a warrior holding Q block and you're really confident about getting your grab off on him, what some people will do is boss slaughter into grab. So forward boss slaughter into grab. That is typically the next form of using boss slaughter. Now, using boss slaughter aggressively like this, I'm not personally a pretty big fan of, because it does have a decently sized gap. Get my protections on real quick. You can see right here, it does. I don't know why whenever you do this, fucking level turn. It does have a pretty decently sized gap. You're standing there for a solid second before you're able to grab. On top of that, if you float the person by accident and then you do the grab, they're instantly capped. So that is also another risk. So typically I'm not using this aggressively. It's more so my follow-up CC. And that's kind of ingrained into me, is when I see the initial CC, I'll use it as follow-up. If I feel like I can't get to there with my stomp in time or something. Yeah, those are pretty much the main things for boss slaughter. There is some neat stuff about it that are just some tips and tricks. It's just like, one, boss slaughter is technically an iframe super armor. So if you slow cast it, it is iframe into super armor into landing. If you hit the W later, for example, if you hit the W later, it'll still do the, oh, I did it too late. It'll still do the float version, but you'll just get the iframe on wind up. So you can technically use this as a protection, although I don't recommend it personally. I've done a lot of testing with it. It's a bit jank to fit in, so it's a bit jank to fit in. That is evident. As for using it off of hotbar, so maybe it fits in a little better into some of your skills with the protection. Even then, I don't really recommend it. I would normally just recommend doing the fast version because it's quicker. Because if your opponent's moving with your crosshair as you're doing the slow one, you can get kind of up a little bit. Yeah. As for the new tech that I found out that I wanted to kind of show off to everybody, you may take notice that Boss Slaughter has two versions. It has the float version and the smash attack version. The smash attack is a bound. Nearly every single person uses the float. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use the bound version. And I was a bit curious as to why. I mean, the general thought process is, the bound version it's a bound, it's just worse. But turns out that the bound version is actually protected. Yeah, so the bound version of Boss Slaughter cancels into other abilities faster. You want to see what I mean? For example, if I was using this aggressively as an engage, watch how fast I can go into Oni Shadow after using this. Instant. And he's bounded on top of that as well. Whereas if I was going to do that off of the float version, you're stuck there for like a solid second. So it's about, I think I timed it, it's about like 70 to 80 milliseconds faster, which in PvP is pretty big in general. I've been using this version nowadays as my rebound CC. So whereas previously I would use the float version to rebound somebody in a group play, I now use the bound version. It's safer to use, and I'm less likely to get CC'd while trying to use Boss Slaughter as a re-CC. It's a bit worse because yes, it's a bound instead of a float, kind of sucks. But in terms of safety and me not getting caught, which is my #1 priority, that it is better. So if I ever do something like this, prefer doing that currently rather than doing the float version. And yeah, has been actually pretty nice to use. Once again, I don't think this is just too well known. I've been practicing it for about 2-3 months now. So you guys feel free to also go and test it with it as you like and have some fun with that if you guys have never tried using the down version. And yeah, besides that, I don't really have anything else for this video. Just kind of a short tips and tricks video for Boss Slaughter, and hope you guys enjoy. Have a great night, guys.